All right, good evening, good afternoon, even in some places, good night. Can everybody hear me okay? But what I'm going to do this morning is something I haven't done. I've held it really close to my heart. I've held it close to myself. I've been very, very secretive about this. Very few people know my story. I've never told my story. I don't go out on Facebook or social media posting my story. One, I don't believe it's people's business. And two, I'm not a Debbie Downer. And if when I tell you my story today, hopefully you will understand not only what I've been through, but I want you to, if you guys follow me on social media, you're going to be blown away, I think, because you're going to say, I never knew this because I never put it out there because I stay 100% positive. When I'm around people, I stay positive no matter what I'm going through. But see, it was just literally about 3 years ago, I became very, very ill. I was rushed to the hospital. They found out I had what's called double pneumonia. I had double blood clots, and I was rushed immediately into surgery. Upon coming out of that surgery, I could no longer walk because both of my legs had totally locked up. The muscles had locked up. Now, they say I can walk again, but I've got to go to rehab, but that's neither here nor there. But again, I was forced into a wheelchair. And to make a long story short, one day I woke up and everything was gone instantly. I'm not even going to cover that story, but I'm going to start from there, guys. I woke up literally in a wheelchair up 16 flights of stairs. Matter of fact, I was so high up, I would crawl down those stairs and I actually broke both of my arms. I have two steel rods in my arm to this day. Okay. Now, when I woke up that day, I found that I had nothing. So I played a little game with the system. What I would do is call 911. The ambulance would come get me, and I told them I wanted to commit suicide. I didn't want to commit suicide. I just knew that by law, they had to take me to the hospital and monitor me, and at least I had somewhere to go, and they'd feed me 3 times a day. Well, that kind of ran out, and they sent me somewhere, and I stayed there for a couple of weeks trying to get it together, and then they released me, and they released me to a homeless shelter. My family, my life was all taken away from me at the snap of it was over. And I never forget, they took me to a homeless facility. I was scared to death. I've never been in that situation. They told me if I was lucky, I could get a room. They had this facility where I could get a cot, and you had to check in every day at 2 o'clock. And to make sure if you get in line, and hopefully you could get a bed that night, or you had to sleep in what's called tent city, which is basically outside in a tent or a blanket or whatever you could do. Here it is, freezing cold, raining. I'm scared to death. I'm a grown man. I just had a family. I had everything. And here I am in a homeless shelter. And I'll never forget, they gave me a bus ticket, a one-way bus ticket to go anywhere I wanted in Dallas. And I used that ticket literally because I refused because of my pride. My ego was broken. And I said, there's no way I'm staying in a homeless shelter. Let me get out of here. And I'll never forget, I took the bus to the Dallas-Fort Worth airport. Now, here it is. I'm at the airport. I stayed in the airport that night. And what I did was I went over to the international section where flights were going out in the morning internationally. And I met a guy from Korea, a businessman. From what I understand, he's a multi-millionaire, but he didn't have any American money with him. And he was hungry and he wanted something out the vending machine. And I'll never forget, I had about $5 in my pocket, and he wanted to trade me some Korean money for anything I had so he could get him a little something to eat out the vending machine because all the restaurants were closed. It was the middle of the night. And I used this is how stupid I am. I gave him my last $5 to get him a little bite to eat when I had absolutely nothing but that ticket. Well, the next morning, the airport literally kicked me out because they knew what I was doing, and I had to go back to that homeless shelter. Long story short, I was homeless. I used to check myself in every day at 2 o'clock. I would get a cot, thankfully. And every morning, they would wake us up at 5 o'clock, and then you had to go, they had this little center, okay? And you could go to the center. Oh, let me tell you this. When I went back to the homeless shelter, in the bus station where they took me back over, this lady stole my iPhone, literally grabbed my iPhone and stole it, because what they do when you're in the streets like that, if they get their hands on your iPhones, they'll go and block them and sell them. That's how they make money. And I didn't know that because I've never been in that environment, but I had my iPhone stolen, so I had no cell phone. And I'm here in the homeless shelter, but every morning I would get up and I would go over to the little training center where you could luckily get you something to eat, okay? And they had these computers. And I would log into that computer and all my passwords were messed up because I was logging in from different IP address. I mean, it was insane. And I used to hit Dad's at 5 or 6 o'clock her time in the morning, say, Dad, and she'd be like, are you all right, Tim? I'm like, I'm all right. I'm gonna make it through this. Nobody's knowing this. Now, they closed that center at 12 o'clock noon every day. Again, I'd sit outside for 2 hours waiting until 2 o'clock to go check back in and get a cotton. Here's what I learned while I was there is that, one, I didn't want to be there. Two, that people get caught up in their environment. I cannot stress to you how many people I met being homeless in a homeless shelter, how many people are totally conditioned to being in that situation. I mean, some of those people were earning 3, 4, 5, 6. One guy I met was making $6,000 a month on his VA disability benefits. $6,000 a month, and you're in a homeless shelter. I also noticed that everybody there had a cell phone. I'm like, how in the world are y'all getting all these people getting? These people are broke. They're in homeless shelters, and they all have cell phones. And what I found out, and I learned real quick, is when you get government benefits, which I wasn't getting because I had no ID. I didn't have a driver's license. I didn't have a birth certificate. So what they do is they try to get all that for you through their services, but it takes time. And I found out when you get benefits, government benefits, you can get a free phone from the government. So I'm checking it out, but I didn't even have any of that stuff. And they told me that it would take a couple of weeks to get all of my benefits in, my Social Security card, my ID card for Texas. And I said, I'm not going to be here a week. I'm not getting caught up into this. And finally figured out that if somebody would take me in and vouch for me, and I could go live with them, they would give me a bus ticket anywhere in the United States. And, thank God to this day, and I'm getting choked up telling y'all the story. My sister in Virginia vouched for me, and they gave me a Greyhound bus ticket from Dallas, Texas, to where I am now. Some of y'all know I'm not even going to tell you where I am. I'm in an undisclosed location is what I call it. So anyways, that was a mess because I'm in a wheelchair, and a lot of those buses cannot transport you in a wheelchair. So I literally sat in a Greyhound bus station. It took me almost a week to get from Dallas to where I am now. I get to where I am, and I'm living with my sister with nothing but the clothes on my back, no money. My sister, fortunately, went out and got my driver's license where I am. My ID card. She got me my birth certificate. I was able to apply for social services, food stamps. I was able to use that to go online and get a free phone. So I got an Android phone for free with free minutes and all that good stuff. But here I am, coming out of that situation, living my worst life. I'm rock bottom. But you know what? When I got that cell phone, I was the happiest human being on the planet because that's all I needed was a cell phone with some internet. That's all I need. Just watch this. And my sister's telling me every day, Tim, just get healthy. Don't worry about the money, because she thinks a little different than me. And most people do. They don't understand how entrepreneurs think. And I'm like, no, just let me do what I do. And I got that cell phone and I went to work. Folks, I want you to hear me and hear me. I want everybody to hear me right now. You listen to a recording, listen to what I'm going to tell you. We're not talking 2 years ago. I was in a homeless shelter on October the 28th of last year. I'm living at my sister's house, and Ben turns on the system on December the 13th. We went to work. People started joining. Many people didn't. It was a crazy experience because we were getting beat up all over the internet. The company's never going to last. And basically, Tim Miller, you suck, okay? But we kept going. Keep sharing, keep sharing, keep sharing. Some came aboard, some didn't. But guess what? This company changed my life. You see, when we launched this thing on December the 13th, the next thing I know, I'm starting to get these weekly checks. They started out averaging about $1,000 a week. Now I go from homeless to $1,000 a week the first couple of weeks. Because mind you, there's no matrix money. There's no matrix money. You don't get paid on the matrix to the second month anyways. There's no generational matches. None of that stuff, guys. None of it. All we had was, I understood that I get 25. Now remember, I have nothing, but I can get $25 on every person I enroll, and I get 9 levels of pay on fast starts. Focus on the focus, Tim. Focus on the focus. I'm not in the best situation. My sister goes to sleep at 9 o'clock at night, cuts off the lights, and I can't have the TV. I'm going crazy because that's not how I live my life. But I have to live by her rules. I'm in her house. I'm a grown man. I'll be 55 this year. But you know what? I would get on that cell phone when that TV got cut off and them lights went out. And I'd be on that cell phone the rest of the night, take the free tour, post it on Facebook. Some of you have been following me a long time. You saw my post, see my post. And you know what? Those checks started coming. First week, $1,000. Next week, $1,000. Got our first residual check. It was about $900. But guess what? I made just enough to move out my sister's house. That was the best feeling in the world. And I literally moved into an extended stay hotel. But I was no longer under her roof. I was on my own. I can eat DoorDash. I can do whatever I have to do. All I need is this Android phone, an internet connection. Leave me alone. Get out my way. Take the free tour. Posting, 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 posting. For the last 4 months, folks, I have been living in an extended stay hotel. But let me tell you what's happened in 4 months. I've gone from literally homeless to my sister's house to living in an extended hotel. And Ben said it on the call yesterday. I'm approaching $100,000 a month. Christopher Hopkins, who's disappeared, who's been sick on his deathbed, he's in the hospital right now, has been gone for the last month and a half. No posting, nothing. The guy posts recipes every day. One of my first distributors. This guy is making an upwards of $20,000 a month from his hospital bed, and we have people out here making excuses you can't get to. See, let me share this with you. The problem is some of us are in positions where we're too comfortable. Listen to me. Some of you all, listen, my voice are too comfortable. You know what I mean by comfortable? You have a home and you got a mortgage or you're paying rent. And as long as you have a job that can cover your necessities, you are what I call comfortable. See, you're stuck in what those people in that homeless shelter were stuck in. They were comfortable. You have to get uncomfortable. You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to change your way of thinking. How long could you last if your job was over tomorrow? Well, folks, let me hip you to something real quick. You may not go homeless. You may never be put in that situation. The one thing I love about this industry is it is recession proof. And the economy is the economy you create. We are a membership company that allows our members to buy products at wholesale prices, just like Costco. That's what we are. That's what all of you have to understand. We can add any product at any time we want to. See, you got to focus on the focus. And as we inject this company with more and more products, it's just going to build more revenue and more volume for the entire company, which is going to pay you more. Jeff Bezos owns Amazon. That's why Jeff Bezos is a multi-billionaire, because he owns Amazon. Amazon started with books. The difference here is Live Good is doing basically the same thing as Amazon, but we own part of Live Good. You receive a percentage of everything moving in this company. We'll approach 8 to 10 million this month. We're doubling every month. Can you imagine when this company's doing 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, where all of you are sitting right now? But we have to focus on the big picture. It's going to take work. It's going to take not doing things you've been doing with your kids every day. I'm going to be honest with you. It's going to take letting your spouse know, I'm about to give this business the next 90 days of my life. I'm going to run so we don't have to live like this anymore. You know? Guys, you guys are sitting on an opportunity of a lifetime. This is our one shot.